Beyond this flood, a frozen continent lies dark and wild, beat with perpetual storms of whirlwind and dire hail, which on firm land thaws not, but gathers heap and ruin seams of ancient pile. All else, deep snow and ice.
I have ideals, and far away in my own white south, I open my arms to the romance of it all. The whole place and conditions seem so strange, and so unlike anything else in the world in our experience, that one cannot describe them in fitting words. It is as though we were truly at the world's end, and were bursting in on the birthplace of the clouds and the nesting home of the four winds. And we could not suppress a feeling that we mortals were being watched with a jealous eye by the forces of nature. In 1772, Captain Cook sailed south, hoping to solve the mystery surrounding the last undiscovered continent, Terra Australis Incognita. The exploration of Antarctica had begun.
Cape pigeons, mollymawks, petrels, and numerous other smaller seafowl now circled about the ship. The most majestic birds of all were the magnificent albatrosses, some of which must have measured 10 feet from tip to tip, which soared like aeroplanes about our wake, never flapping their wings but simply setting them against the breeze.
Our ropes were like wire, our sails like plates of metal, and the sheaves froze fast in the blocks. I believe firmly there is a tract of land near the pole which is the source of all the ice spread over this vast southern ocean.
In all my travels in more than 30 lands, I had seen nothing so simply magnificent as this stupendous work of nature. The grandest and most beautiful monuments raised by human hands had not inspired me with such a feeling of awe as I experienced on meeting with this first Antarctic iceberg.
Every noise on board, even our own voices, reverberated from the massive and pure white walls. These tabular bergs are like masses of beautiful alabaster. The impression these icy and desolate regions left upon me can never be forgotten. Exploration was swiftly followed by exploitation. The sealers moved in. As they exhausted reserves on the outer islands, others ventured further south, and in 1820 the long arm of the Antarctic Peninsula was discovered. It is here that animals flock to breed.
Such weather made the very drawing of the breath of life a joy. It filled one with a sensation of delight to throw back the arms, expand the chest, and opening wide the lungs, inhale great stimulating draughts of the sweet, exhilarating air. It made one thrill and tingle with very gladness to be alive, and to have health and strength and feel the marvel of it all.
Whatever a penguin does has individuality, and he lays bare his whole life for all to see. He cannot fly away. And because he is quaint in all that he does, but still more because he is fighting, always with the most gallant pluck, he comes to be considered as something apart from the ordinary bird, sometimes solemn, sometimes humorous, enterprising, chivalrous, cheeky, and always a welcome, and in some ways, an almost human friend.
The sea leopard, slim and clean-cut of form, with a well-defined neck, a long head, and an array of teeth that is showed in a most aggressive manner. A touring party next appeared. I assume they must have been a tourist band on pleasure bent, because at this time of year, all serious-minded Adelies would be attending to their young ones. These, I took it, were carefree individuals, unhampered by such responsibilities and out to see the world. A whale going through its spoutings is a profoundly interesting sight. One first becomes aware of the presence of one in the vicinity by a loud, hollow-sounding blast, which can be heard for miles. On a perfectly calm day, the stillness of the Antarctic is so vast that the voices of men talking in ordinary outdoor tones can be heard for a mile or more, and the blow of a whale can be heard for several.
Exploration of the continent's fringes continued, and Antarctica gradually took shape. But the explorers of the heroic age were keen to penetrate the interior. They headed for Mount Erebus, passing through the Ross Sea and a plethora of pack ice.
In cloudy weather, the ice fields appeared blank and featureless, no matter how broken up they were. But a shaft of sunlight falling on the uneven surfaces instantly transformed desolation into entrancing beauty. No precious hour of sunshine could therefore be wasted, whichever of the 24 it might be.
There are many other beautiful seabirds, But most beautiful of all are the snowy petrels, which approach nearer to the fairies than anything else on Earth. They are the familiar spirits of the pack, flying here and there independently in a mazy fashion, glittering like so many white moths or shining snowflakes.
Spent a lot of time in the maintop this afternoon. It's simply perfect looking over miles of ice with patches of clear water. Got a square look at a whale today, which means that I heard his snort and saw part of his back. They're mostly of the killer type.
Killers will frequently swim just below the surface, with only their dorsal fin showing above water. Once we saw a pack of them cruising thus, their menacing fins looking like murderous weapons, mysteriously moving along the surface of the sea. It was a sinister sight. The towering mass of Erebus now began to rise above the glaciers, presenting a well-balanced contour, with the active, snow-covered cone plumb in the center of the mountain mass.
Give me Erebus for my friend. Whoever made Erebus knew all the charm of horizontal lines, and the lines of Erebus are for the most part nearer the horizontal than the vertical. And so he is the most restful mountain in the world, and I was glad when I knew that our hut would lie at his feet. And always there floated from his crater the lazy banner of his cloud of steam. Till then, the blizzard had raged with monstrous fury. The winds of the world were there, and they had all gone mad. But I have never heard, or felt, or seen a wind like this. I wondered why it did not carry away the earth. They concluded that the emperor was an impossible kind of bird, who for some reason or other nests in the middle of the Antarctic winter with the temperature anywhere below 70 degrees of frost, and the blizzards blowing, always blowing against his devoted back.
Then there were times when the whole sky was a rainbow, and one's very heart and soul cried out in rapture, "These things are not earthly. This is heaven." In the southern spring of 1911, the final race for the South Pole began. Both the Norwegians, led by Amundsen, and the British, by Scott, had first to cross the transantarctic mountains to reach the plateau beyond.
Away to the west, whenever the weather was unusually clear, there unfolded to our gaze a panorama such as I doubt the world can elsewhere parallel. Higher mountains I have seen, higher by far. But in all the world I know of none more serenely beautiful than those.
Smooth lies the plateau before us, flat as a drawing room floor. We have thus won a victory, dragged ourselves through storm and drift. Now the road to the pole is clear. May we soon be there.
It ought to be a certain thing now, the only appalling possibility. The sight of the Norwegian flag forestalling ours.
We can now lie and look towards the pole, and I hear the axle creaking, but tomorrow it will be oiled. Shall we
But
see
after
the
all,
English?
it is not what we see that inspires awe, but the knowledge of what lies beyond our view. We see only a few miles.
So now we have attained the goal of our desires. 5 roughened, frostbitten fists lifted the fluttering flag on high and planted it together as the very first at the geographic South Pole.
The pole. Yes, but under very different circumstances from those expected. Great God, this is an awful place. And terrible enough for us to have labored to it without the reward of priority. Here, then, tonight, we have reached the end of our tether. And all we have done is to show the immensity of this vast plain. The scene about us is the same as we have seen for many a day. A scene so wildly and awfully desolate that it cannot fail to impress one with gloomy thoughts.
Men are not old here. Only the rocks are old, and the sheathing ice. Only the restless sea, chafing the frozen land, ever moving, matched by the ceaselessly circling sun.